Hello, and welcome to the Logcast. It's David Jones, back once again, with the ever-faithful co-host,
Jephren Perez.
Yay! We're back.
We are back again.
With more Perfect Dark.
Yes.
Part 2.
But before we jump into that, there's a little bit of some exciting news to go over.
There is. It's very exciting.
The big news this week was the announcement of the very first technical alpha for Sea of Thieves, and a insiders playtest session for that.
Yep. And I'm trying to remember all the details. Did they... Okay, now I'm trying to remember what was in the email that I'm not supposed to talk about. And
Right, I'm going straight off the website.
Okay.
And having that same problem.
Awesome.
They, on the website article, the one that's public to the world, they said that they're going to pick around 1,000 players, gives them the right scale and experience. And they also did announce that it would be next weekend, December 16th through the 18th. And there would be several time slots throughout.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, I'm not sure what all was in the email, but that's on the public website.
I honestly
going off of that.
I honestly think that the email probably just mirrored exactly what was public. So I don't think it's probably a big deal, but it still had the Microsoft Confidential banner in front of it. So yeah. I'm going to be careful paraphrasing anything from that.
Right. And along with this announcement for it, they actually put out a 3.5-minute video that had all new footage of gameplay mechanics and things that we had never seen before. So that was really cool to see, the compass in action. We'd never seen them digging up treasure chests. We'd never seen, except for that first E3 trailer, which wasn't really, it was indicative of what it would look like, but I don't know that it was actually the mechanic of digging up a treasure chest. And what else? They showed the blunderbuss being shot. They showed a really cool shot of a guy running from one ship, jumping across between ships, and then shooting someone on the other ship. That was really cool.
I thought the part 2 was the dude held up the map
for
the other player to see.
Yep.
And I was like, oh my gosh, that's so cool.
Yeah, that was something that we got to see when we were at Rare, and it was really cool to see that being used. It was very cool.
I don't know, it's just so much out of the box, non-traditional game design shown in that whole little alpha trailer. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's just something entirely different. This is finally games moving forward. This is awesome.
Oh no, it is incredible, the things they thought of for this game and the things that they've have planned for it. And Greg Mails tweeted this week after they announced it, and he goes, if you guys are excited, I can't remember exactly what it was. I don't have it pulled up, but it was basically if you're excited for this, this, you haven't seen anything yet. So that's very promising.
Oh man.
So, yep. Very cool co-op elements, very cool ways to, I don't want to say force player interaction, but to kind of leverage player interaction. Like you said, showing each other the map. It's really cool to have. It's almost like having a virtual on-screen display of your map and having it available, but in the game world space, which is really cool.
Right. Yeah. So if you're in the Insider program, keep checking that email, including the spam folders, because I've had some go to there before.
I added their mailing thing as a safe sender, and
it's a good plan.
On my mobile Outlook app, I have it set to always go to the priority inbox, just to make sure I get the notifications when they come through.
Yeah, good.
Highly
plan.
recommend that to everyone.
I know I will be compulsively checking my email box for most of this week.
Yep, same here.
I know, and I think we were talking about this earlier. I already booked tickets to see Rogue One this Saturday, and I was like, what if I get in right in the time slot that I'm already seeing Rogue One in? No!
Personally, I would play Sea of Thieves, because you can go to Rogue One the next day or whatever.
Yeah, it's hard though too.
I
especially
understand.
I've already kind of planned it with my wife and everything, so I don't know.
Okay, fair enough.
We'll see if it does come to that. We'll see. Oh, and if you're listening here and thinking about letting me in, I'm seeing it at 3:15 Eastern Time, Saturday the 17th. Please schedule around, because I know I'm so important.
So avoid that noon to 3 p.m. time slot.
Right.
Of Pacific time, which is their time slots they listed were Pacific and GMT British.
Oh, okay.
So yeah. Yeah, so that's the big news. I don't really think there was any other new news. I think Yooka-Laylee was playable at the PlayStation Experience last weekend, I think, as we were recording. And we discussed that a little bit, and people that played it seemed to love it just as much as they had. I think it was the same build from Gamescom, the just Tribal Stack Tropics. Because there was a video posted, and the Platonic guys were like, yeah, it was a 3 or 4 month old build. It runs even better now.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So that's exciting.
So
and then,
cool.
Yep. The last thing is something that I've been kind of following. We realized that technically the site doesn't cover, but worth mentioning. A new studio called Penny Black Studios, which was formed by a bunch of former Free Radical employees, but not former Rare employees. However, the music for their first game, which just came out this week, it's called How We Soar, was done by Steve Burke, and I hear it's amazing. I actually haven't heard any of the music from it yet, but it's for PlayStation 4 VR, and it looks really cool. It's very stylized, kind of looks like origami.
Yeah,
and
I have not done much information digging on it, but I'm sure it's going to be cool if those people are involved. Maybe we'll change the name of the site to Rare and Friends and Their Friends, and then
and Friends of Friends
and Friends of Friends, Rare and Friends of Friends, because it's like that there's that kind of direct line there where it's like Rare gave birth to a studio, sort of. Well, and then that studio gave birth to this studio.
Right. It's like a spiritual successor to a spiritual successor. Yeah. If you really break it down, the GoldenEye team taught these people everything they know.
Right.
Not really. But
Rare and 5 degrees of separation, or whatever that goes.
Basically that, yeah.
Yeah, that's what we could call our site in the future.
I almost feel like that's every UK studio at this point.
That's true.
Because I feel like there's somebody from Rare involved at most major UK studios, which is cool. It's a testament to what they mean to the UK games industry, and obviously their longevity. They're probably the longest, if not close to the longest standing studio over there. So it's really cool to see kind of just their effect, so called, trickle down through these different studios. It's cool to be able to trace a direct lineage.
Yeah, there's definitely the UK game scene is pretty incredible. I think it's like a lot of creativity there. Like, it's one thing that I didn't really realize until I started doing this site, and I started like looking at all these other sort of British devs that I sort of grew interested in because of all these people leaving from Rare, going to different places and stuff like that.
Right.
But it seems like a lot. I'm not putting down American devs, but I feel like there's these sort of ideas around creativity and doing something different seem to be a lot more prevalent in the UK development scene. Where
it's interesting because same here. I didn't really know a ton about other UK studios before I kind of started helping out with the site, and it's been fascinating and mostly just through former Rare employees, but to kind of learn more about the UK dev scene, and then all the indies that we do follow, like Making Games and the like. It's cool to
gory detail.
Yeah, to see some of that, and then learning about I learned more about Lionhead because of Steve Malpass working there. I kind of looked more into it at the time, and it was a bummer when they had to shut that down.
I've never actually played a Lionhead game. I probably should.
I haven't either, honestly. I've never played Fable.
I've heard the Fable games are really good though.
Yeah, when we were in England, Emma was telling me, Emma from Rare, Emma Bridal, she was saying I think Fable 2 is her favorite game, and she was very highly recommending it. So I need to get it and play it.
Yeah, absolutely. I've heard that the main criticism to those games was how they were hyped because of I can't remember that guy's name. Peter
Molyneux.
Peter Molyneux. Yeah, never sure how to pronounce it. Like he was kind of just like a hype man in some regards. Yes. So people would go into these unrealistic expectations.
Yeah, he was like what's the guy from No Man's Sky? Is it Sean Murray who kind of overpromises things and shows off things a little too early?
Yeah, it's like like they would go out on stage and talk about like the stuff that people are kicking around in a boardroom as cool ideas rather than what they're actually testing.
Right, and that that's exactly it's exactly what No Man's Sky did. Which it's too bad because you shouldn't not be able to talk about your ideas, but then you shouldn't and this is actually very relevant to Sea of Thieves because without ever directly mentioning it by name, I think they were very aware of the No Man's Sky over-promise without showing. And they've been very careful to say the game will speak for itself. We're going to show you stuff from the game. We're not going to tell you features that we're planning. We're not going to tell you things because they may not work out. But if we show it to you running in the game and working and we've tested it and feel comfortable with it, then it will speak for itself. And I think that is the best approach for this type of thing. And I think that's why, because if you look at the message boards or the comment sections about Sea of Thieves, every few lines someone throws in, "Oh, this is No Man's Sky 2." It's like, no, actually, if you look at it and you look at the development team and you look at how long they've been working on it, it's not.
Yeah, and I like the way that like they're almost under-promising in some ways because every time they show something new, it's like, oh my god, they never talked about that before. That looks really cool. Yeah, there's like this sort of sense of surprise rather than like getting up on stage saying everything you could possibly do at once and then watching as certain things have to be cut, as does in any development.
That was definitely something I was impressed with when we were there, like because they showed us some of the stuff that they haven't talked about, and obviously I can't go into detail, but like it was just like, oh wow, like they are definitely, I guess, under-promising, over-delivering, like you said. Like it's just they have thought of so much, and it's amazing. It's really cool. So yeah, it's that was a tangent about UK development.
Woohoo! So we're excited.
Yeah, I don't think there's too much more news, so we can probably jump back into our Perfect Dark Spotlight.
Yes. Perfect Dark.
Yes,
Last time on Perfect Dark Spotlight,
we were in the Carrington Villa.
Yeah. Insert like a bunch of flashbacks to us talking for some reason here.
Yeah.
And now the conclusion.
Hopefully.
Hopefully, probably not.
Knowing us, yeah.
Yeah. So after you get out of the villa, suddenly I really don't remember this. It's weird. I play this game so much, but I always have a hard time remembering the actual story beats of why you're going from place to place.
Okay, so you basically you rescue Carrington at the end of the villa,
right?
And he tells you that there's, well, I don't think he tells you there, but he tells you that there's some friends he's been trying to reach out to or something. He's like, it's time I call in some friends, I think, unless I'm thinking at the end of the Chicago mission. But regardless, he knows that there was a meeting of the Datadyne executives at their G5 building in Chicago. So he needs to send you there to investigate that and try to figure out what Datadyne is really up to.
There's actually a pretty cool story going on. I think a lot of it's just kind of I've forgotten because I just think, I go to Chicago, I go record some people, get a thing out of the safe, and then I leave. Right. I don't remember why I'm doing any of those things.
It's a pretty cool story, and it has to do with conspiracies and alien races and stuff. So you head to Chicago. You're kind of dropped in the back in the alleys. You're dressed in a trench coat. And speaking of that, it's kind of a cool thing about this game is all of the costume changes that Joanna goes through. It's pretty cool.
Trench coat Joe.
Super common at the time.
GoldenEye
did do it a little bit
for an extent, which was also pretty neat. I mean, especially too if you think about it's a first-person game, so they really don't have to.
Yeah,
they could just literally just drop you into the level, only show your gun the whole time, and that be it. But they kind of went the extra mile there a little bit.
Yeah, but with the cinema scenes, the cut scenes, the way they are, that they're all in third person, and they have voice acting and all this new stuff, motion capture. It's cool that they went the extra step to do the costume changes. So you're dropped into the streets of Chicago. It's a rainy night, and you need to create a distraction to sneak into this G5 building. And that's kind of the premise of this mission.
There's an awful flying robot drone.
Yes,
that is will be the bane of your existence on higher difficulty levels.
Yeah, that thing is awful. It took me a while to beat this level the first time, even on Agent or whatever. That thing caused me a lot of problems before I could figure out its pattern.
If I'm remembering right, you kind of go forward, you go to the side, and there's like a little fence that, if you look at it from an angle, there's like a hole in it you can slip through. And then I believe you drop down to kind of like a sewer-like area, a couple guards, and you go over to the left. I think you crouch down. Is that where you find, like, I can't remember what the item is. Is it like a hacking device or something?
There's like a hacking device that's in a sewer. It's like a remote mine, a hacking device, and something else.
Okay, so you're getting a bundle of things. Okay, that's right.
Yeah, I think so. And it's under a storm drain. And that's all the mission thing tells you is, like, we've hidden your supplies in a storm drain, and you need to get over there. And then you can come up through a modern sewer hole, like kind of it's like a slide open door in the ground.
Yeah, that's right.
And you hack the taxi flies off, you wait a minute or so, and then when the robot gets to a certain area, it triggers the in-game cutscene, and the taxi will crash, and that pulls the guards away from guarding the car park entrance, and then you can sneak in.
Yep.
So
that's actually pretty much the whole level.
Yeah, it's actually a really small level. Like, if you look at the full size of it, it's tiny. But it because of the stealth aspect of it and having to wait for the robot and stuff, it makes it feel close to as long as a normal level.
I know this one is one of the ones that is really easy. Well, not really easy to speed run, but I mean, you can speed run really quickly if you do everything right.
If your timing is good and you know the robot schedule.
Yep.
And this one has really good music. This is one of my favorite, kind of like a solemn, slow soundtrack, but it's a cool song. I don't know if you agree, but
all the soundtrack's pretty good. I think I can't remember all
this
the
one
people
stands
who
out
worked
to me
on
for
it.
some reason.
Did Grant work on this one at all, or no?
Grant did this entire soundtrack. This because
really,
GoldenEye, he collaborated with Graham, and
I could have sworn that Graham Norgate did like one or two.
I don't think so. He was already at Free Radical.
Okay.
So I'm pretty sure this was entirely Kirk Hope.
Okay. Cool.
Could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
Just look that up and see. Just
to double check,
just to be certain.
Correct next week.
Because I could have sworn there was like just two that like Graham did right before he left that were like used, or maybe there was bits of them somewhere.
See, I was thinking that was GoldenEye. That there's only one or two that Graham did in GoldenEye.
But I thought Graham did like almost all of GoldenEye. I don't know.
No, maybe it was half and half, but it was mostly Kirk Hope, honestly.
Okay.
Anyway, so yeah, not too much more to that level. You kind of move in straight from the streets of Chicago into the parking garage, or the car park as they call it in the UK, and you move into the G5 building, and this is a bit of a longer level where you're continuing on your stealth run.
Can I briefly go back to the soundtrack because I just looked it up?
Yes, go.
It's three people. I haven't found all the credited people, but the three people credited are Grant Kirkhope, Graham Norgate, and David Sinek.
Interesting. In Perfect Dark?
Yep.
Cool.
I could have sworn that Graham Norgate did a few of them because his style really I know I've heard that a couple times.
Okay. Yeah, I had no idea.
I would have to actually have found a more detailed one that shows which ones who was done by each person.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Well, we'll have to try and find that out and let the public know.
Next time, because it's important.
Yes, it is. For a Rare fan site, it's very important. Alrighty. So we moved into the G5 building. You start in the car park.
I love this level.
It's a really cool level. I played this one a lot as a kid.
Yeah, I did too.
You start in the car park, a guard sees you and goes into stealth mode, and suddenly there's like 7 guards that are using...
Wait. So that's actually supposed to be a car park? Is that what that is?
Yeah, you're in a parking garage.
Because there's no cars in there.
No. And it's
really I never just realized that till you just said it.
Yeah. Because the whole premise of the Chicago level is get to the car park. You go into the car park elevator, and then in this next level, the G5 building, you come out of the car park elevator, and you're in the car park.
See, that shows how much I paid attention to this story back in those days. Like, I know it was like, just cool place with pillars to engage
right?
in,
I know. You think about
action.
It, and it's like, well, if this is just a room inside of the building, what the hell is it for? There's like a dumpster and
Yeah.
Pillars. I know.
And the coloring too, where everything's kind of like beige. It's like not what you expect of a car park.
Right. And it doesn't seem like there's an entrance for the cars to drive into. I'll have to go play that again because now I'm starting to doubt myself.
And at some point through this, you lose your trench coat. Now you're in this fancy leather outfit.
Yeah, I guess she just leaves it in the elevator.
Yeah, I don't know. She's like, no more trench coat.
She does her cool little duck and roll behind a pillar.
Mm-hmm.
Good use of mocap there.
Was this before or after The Matrix?
Yeah.
Because I'm wondering.
This technically came out a year after The Matrix.
Okay, so because I felt like there was kind of like a little bit of a Matrix vibe at like the start of this
Probably
level, with kind of like the Trinity-esque
entering the lobby.
Yeah. But
yeah.
And it was definitely clear that Rare was influenced by The Matrix, judging by Conker's Bad Fur Day.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So I don't know if that was intentional or not, but that's kind of what it reminded me of.
Yeah, I'm sure at the time, like they were watching the sci-fi and the different movies of the era, and that was what their whole story was, kind of a spoof on. Not a spoof, but kind of drawing elements from all the major.
Yeah.
Like X-Files seems to be the biggest
definitely.
influence in the.
It's kind of like
Rare replay interviews.
X-Files meets James Bond probably would be a good way to describe
that's really what it is.
Because it's like they keep all that like sort of stuff that made Bond cool, and then just wrapped it up in like futuristic sci-fi and like X-Files type stuff.
Yep.
So pretty
exactly
cool. Like a little bit of cyberpunk, a little bit of X-Files, a little bit of Bond.
Yep.
Yeah, Perfect Dark.
Perfect game. So this level you're kind of infiltrating the this G5 building, which is a Datadyne front, and there's a meeting that you have to photograph with your spy cam, and there's a safe you need to crack and get Dr. Carroll's memory out of, and that's most of the mission. You kind of just it's a little bit of stealth because all the guards will raise alarm if they see you. So.
And there's a cool place at the end when you're getting Dr. Carroll's memory, where it's just like kind of like guards after guards keep coming and coming until you exit the level. And I know I used to like replay this part just so I could see how long I could last.
I loved doing that. Just kind of
like the original zombies mode.
Yeah.
And that was something really cool about both this game and Perfect Dark, is I would create my own meta games within the game itself a lot of times.
Yeah.
And
kind of
I don't
set up
know.
your own little rules to try and...
Yeah, it's like, okay, I'm going to go through this whole level. I'm not going to do this. Or like my goal is to do this. And
my friend and I would do that. We would do it like... We would try to beat a whole mission by only disarming the guards, like only using slappers or punch or whatever. Sometimes that worked. Some of them you can't. But
I know I used to, after I unlocked, I think it was, I can't remember what they call it. I think it's called Perfect Dark mode and Perfect Dark, or Double O Agent mode and Perfect Dark, where you can like actually change the damage. I'd actually try to do super realistic one-hit kill mode sometimes.
Yeah.
Never got far with that, but I did attempt it quite a few times. It's like,
I never tried that. But that's we would try to do that too.
It's definitely
like
thrilling.
Yeah. But
very tedious, but thrilling.
Something I just realized recently in this mission, I just had never put two and two together, but when the safe opens, there's like a little, looks like an award, and it is, but there's like a BAFTA in the safe.
Are you serious?
Yeah, and I always noticed it, throughout playing the game, but I never knew what it was. But like after seeing the row of BAFTAs at Rare and like actually committing them to memory what they are, like, there's a BAFTA in the safe.
I'll have to replay that again and see that because I don't remember.
Yeah.
Is it in both versions?
I think so. I want to say it was in the original. I mean, it may only be in the HD remake because of they won a BAFTA for this game, but I want to say it was in the original.
Okay, might be a good thing to look up comparison wise.
Yeah, it was just kind of funny. Just like, oh wait, I know what that is now. I recognize this. So, but yeah, after if you're playing on a lower difficulty, Carrington will blow a hole in the wall and you escape. And I think if you're playing on a higher difficulty, you use a remote mine or a timed mine to blow the hole in the wall, if I recall. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't remember either.
But essentially, you blow a hole in the wall and you escape back to the Chicago street. And then just for the cutscene, not to play again.
Yep.
And during that cutscene, it's actually a pretty pivotal one plot-wise, because Carrington makes mention of the friends that he's been meaning to call in, that he's kind of referenced in a few previous missions, and that one of them was, I don't think he says it yet, but one of them gets shot down over Area 51. So suddenly he's taking you from Chicago to Nevada to go infiltrate Area 51, because, infiltrating a corporate megastructure isn't bad enough. You got to infiltrate the government's most highly guarded top secret facility.
Seems plausible.
Yeah. And not just the government, the U.S. government, and you are not a U.S. citizen, so they're going to be doubly watching you. Unless the Carrington Institute is meant to be in the U.S. and these are naturalized citizens, but do they ever say where the Carrington Institute is? I'm
not sure, but
crap.
I always got the feeling that it would be the UK.
Me too.
Even so, like Area 51, I mean, it's not like you can get anywhere near that.
Right, exactly.
Like what do they do? Just fly in with some sort of stealth technology? Like, how does she even get there without being shot?
That I've never understood. They literally fly over it and drop her into the base. Like, she slides down like a steel beam. Like,
no fly zones aren't a thing.
Let's see if I can find.
Area 51 is an Air Force base, so I'm pretty sure they're monitoring the sky pretty well.
Yeah.
Little plot hole there, but that's okay. It's a video game.
Yeah.
Yeah, Area 51.
Yeah.
Infiltration.
So
the level of drone guns.
Oh god, those
are
a pain.
So many drone guns.
Yeah, so you start kind of in the outskirts of it. You're trying to get to an elevator to go down into the bunker underground. So you're upstairs, or you're on the surface, and there's these drone guns around every corner. They just, as soon as they see you, they shoot you. So you have to pretty much kind of just get them in view, like the corner of one in view, and just keep shooting at it, because there's really nothing else you can do.
Yep.
It'll eat you alive.
Yeah, if you eventually, after doing it enough, you kind of learn just how far you can get. Okay, and it's like strafe slightly to the side, see the corner of it, scope in, and then just like pick it off with your Falcon or mag, whatever you have. I think I used my mag, MagSec. Is that what it was called?
MagSec 4, I think.
Yeah, just like zoom in a little bit and then just.
It's a highly inaccurate gun. Like it sprays a lot, so yeah, it was hard to do. I always tried to use my Falcon.
Either works.
So this one, you kind of walk around the surface. You need to disable air intercept radar, unlock the hangar with a key card, and then find the CI spy. So there's a Carrington Institute agent who's already infiltrated the area. So again, I don't understand why they're sending in Joanna Dark if Jonathan's already there.
I don't know.
Like, that doesn't make sense to me in the plot.
An agent difficulty level, did you have to like go down to that computer area and blow that up, or was that on special agent?
I think.
'Cause I feel like I always remember doing that, but I don't remember which difficulty level.
I remember doing it. I don't know if it's required. Is that shutting down the air intercept radar? I think that's what that is.
I might have, because I know there's like you go in there. There's like a countdown, and then you got to get out, and then it like.
I think it is required on agent. And then when you do it on the higher difficulties, they add the laser beams, because the lasers aren't in there on the lower difficulty, and they make it kind of more of a pain in the ass after you disable it.
Yeah, I remember this being one of the really hard ones on higher difficulty levels.
Yes, yeah, because then they send a couple guards at you, so as you're trying to escape, two more dudes come down and start shooting at you. And then higher difficulties, you have to plant a comm device on an antenna and do some other stuff. I know there's another one where you have to disable the robot interceptors, and so it's just a little more hacking on the surface in the higher difficulty levels. And then once you're inside, it's still just trying to get to the end and reach Jonathan while they send a crap ton of guards at you.
Yep.
So
yeah,
that's infiltration. Once you get through that, you get to rescue.
Yeah, these next two, I think I always have a hard time remembering where one ends, the next one begins.
Right. One ends with Joanna getting to Elvis in the lab, and then the next one starts with her running him out.
Oh, that's right, because then you start when you're holding like the
you're holding
stretcher. Okay.
exactly,
so that's like the cutoff.
Yeah.
Cool.
But yeah, it's really just one giant level broken into 3.
Right.
So Yeah, in Rescue, you go in, and it's another one of those stealth ones where you kind of try and avoid the guards, but they're going to see you, and you just kind of take them out and progress from A to B. There's not much to do. I think you have to get a lab tech disguise and put that on.
I think there's a hidden second Falcon, isn't there? If I remember right.
Yes.
Like you go over behind some crates, there's a little hole, and you can get dual Falcons. I remember that.
I always went and got that, yeah.
And you have this floating crate bomb, of course, too. Which you should.
Right, yeah. And
the floating crate.
I don't know about you. I always left it at the level entrance. I never took it with me. I always used the dragon has a proximity mine secondary feature, and I would always just use that to blow the hole in the wall at the end. I would never use the crate.
Yeah, I've done that a couple times, too. I think I've played with the crate, though, just because it's fun to kind of...
It's fun, but it's kind of a pain in the ass to kind of
pick
it up, leave it, pick it up, leave it. Don't let it get shot.
Yeah, no, I've done the same method. I think I actually do use that method on like higher difficulty levels because it's too dangerous to worry about that thing.
Yeah. And then this is one that I think this is about as far as I ever get when I played a game on higher difficulty. So I'm actually gonna have to look at a guide here, but I guess there's something about locating conspiracy evidence. I have no idea.
Oh, it's been a while. It's hard too because of the higher difficulty levels. I've really only done those like once.
Yeah.
The ones I remember the most on higher difficulty levels are the ones that I got really stuck on and I had to do over and over again.
Okay.
I don't remember having a really hard time with this one.
They're probably I mean this one once you kill all the guards there's not much you have to do. The only thing really is once you get to that last hallway you have a limited amount of time to get to Elvis. But other than that, this one isn't really that hard. There's not a ton of guards.
Yeah.
Anyway, so you work your way through the lab, and ultimately you blow a hole in the wall, get into the inner research center, and try to get to Elvis, and before he is dissected.
Aw, poor Elvis.
And once you get to him, you hold a gun at the guards, or not the guards, the scientists, and they try to poison you with toxic gas. Very much like the end of Portal. Yeah, and then basically you're trying to escape with Elvis. You try to meet back up with Jonathan again, get the secret hangar, and escape. And
that's
it's always
level.
been
next level now, right?
Yeah. Well, that's why once we got to Elvis, we were moving to the next level.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I realized that. I feel like we
transition
didn't say
happens
it though.
instantly.
Yeah, pretty much. Like it feels like the same level.
Yeah. But what was always interesting to me on this one is that there's really two major ways to end the level to escape. You can pretty quickly, once you meet up with Jonathan, just escape in the UFO, like Elvis's ship, I guess. But if you screw that up, or if you don't do it right, or if you go to the wrong one, like wrong terminal, you have to escape on a hover bike. And this level, considering that you can escape without ever going through it, this level is huge as far as actual physical space that you can ride that thing through to escape back out to the surface.
I'm trying to remember if the choice is only on Agent. I feel like there's one particular way. You have to do it like the hardest way or something on
probably that would make sense.
Yeah.
Maybe on Agent is the only one where you get the option, but
I can't remember. But
it has to do with where you're standing when you talk to Jonathan, or where you go after you talk to Jonathan, something like that. If you go to the terminals, then he escapes on the thing. If you let him go to the terminals, then you escape on the thing. Something like that. I can't remember.
Yeah, I know. I remember always usually just like kind of trying to cover Jonathan when he goes to the terminals. That was usually the way I did it.
Okay.
So I don't know if that's the easier way, but that's like the one I have the most memory of doing.
Yeah. Anyway, it's an interesting way to end the level, and it's pretty stressful because the level is kind of a bit of a maze when you're leaving on the hover bike. I know I've gone in circles trying to get out of it before, so but very cool that they had both options and thought through it. But other than that, I mean, there's not a whole lot again to this one. There's a couple points where you have to fend off guards for a little bit for a prolonged period of time. One, right after you meet up with Jonathan, while he's like trying to blow a hole in the wall, and then again when he's at the terminals or whatever.
Right,
so.
Right. Yeah. So there's a little bit of the sort of
kind of that forced combat. Yeah.
Protect this person, and it's difficult because you can't let this person die type situations.
Yep.
Babysitting.
Exactly. Escort mission.
Escort mission. What do you want to call it?
But yeah, eventually you will escape, and at that point, you move on to a new area, not Area 51.
Oh, this next couple of levels is probably some of my favorite in the whole game.
Same here, and these are the ones I play all the time whenever I go back to play Perfect Dark. I go play the Elastic Air Base Espionage.
Yeah, the best levels to go Postal in.
Yeah. You want to take us into the airbase and kind of set that one up?
Yeah, so once again, I don't really remember the story behind it, but you're kind of you're set down. You got to go. You have a crossbow with tranquilized darts and a couple other things, and you basically have to go get a disguise. And there's a stewardess that's sort of off to the main building in a cave, kind of, which I'm not even sure why she's in there. Because there might be in-story explanation. I don't remember.
I can kind of fill in why you're here and where she's coming from. So this airbase is where Air Force One is kept. So during the G5 reconnaissance mission, when you get the cam spy in that meeting of G5 and the conspirators, they are basically talking about they're going to attack the president. Ultimately, they want to clone him and then have the clone give orders to let them use a government research vessel that goes under the sea. So the reason you're here is your whole goal is to warn the president that his NSA advisor Trent is actually against him. Mm-hmm. So that's why you're here. And then the reason that the stewardess is coming up the that cave is that there's a like a gondola thing that brings her up.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
from down below, and that's where
you apparently skipped the story scenes a lot less than I did during this game.
Oh, I was obsessed with the cutscenes of this game. I watched them a lot.
Okay, see, I was the opposite. After I saw them like a couple times, I want to get to the shooting.
Okay.
So I remember all what I do so very vividly. I don't remember always the reason why.
Okay.
Yeah, so I remember that was what I do. You get out, get into the level, run as quick as you can into the cave, take out the two guards. If I actually wanted to complete the mission objectives, I would tranquilize the stewardess. Otherwise, I would shoot her in the head.
Right. Yeah. See, I watched all the cutscenes a lot, and then I read all of the supplemental material that was in the menus and in the Carrington Institute. So, which there's a lot of like written out supplemental data or like background info in this game.
I honestly wish I had done that more because I love as a franchise, it's like one of my favorite.
Right.
Ever, but I never really got into the lore for whatever reason.
Interesting. Yeah, I was.
Which I don't really know why. I think it was probably because of the age I was. I really wasn't into that really obsessive fandom as I was when I actually, was that age.
Yeah. Well, you should go back and read through it now. It's actually pretty good stuff.
And then there's those Perfect Dark Zero comics that I've never read.
Oh yeah.
I don't know how bad they are. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
I still can't get over the canon violations of the accent change.
There's so much wrong with Perfect Dark Zero and its story. It just it actually makes me angry. So we won't get into that. So you were saying you go and you get the stewardess and you get her outfit so that you look like you're the stewardess. And
then everyone's like, oh, yeah, we're expecting you. Here, let me open these doors for you. Go right in.
It's hilarious. They don't even check her credentials or biometrics or anything. It's just, oh, yeah, you look like a stewardess. There wouldn't be anybody that would knock her off and try to pose as her.
Oh, you have a crossbow? Go right in.
It's not like this is just some random base. Like, the freaking president of the United States is there with the Air Force One.
Yeah, and I love that you're basically carrying all these weapons, but as long as you're not holding them in your hand, they're cool with it.
Right. Yeah. Oh, you have a crossbow on your back. Okay, no problem.
I can't remember too I think you're physically able to pick up an assault rifle before you go in too, right? Or is that
I guess you technically would have one from like those two guards that are escorting.
Yeah. So you're basically walking in there with a stewardess with an assault rifle and a crossbow strapped on your back, and they're like, "Yeah, all right, cool, go right in."
A skin tight stewardess dress.
Yeah.
Flight attendant, I believe is the politically correct term, but yeah,
right.
It's it's a little silly, and then in the more difficult missions, you have to check all of your weapons before it'll let you go through the metal detector. Otherwise, you fail.
I forgot about that.
And the agent,
so they
you can
did
just
think of
carry
that.
him with you.
I mean, like, but still, like, that's the metal detectors because you're just concealing an assault rifle and a crossbow.
Right.
Like, where are you keeping that?
What's better is, like, even on the higher difficulty, you have to go up and get, like, a little briefcase, and then, like, apparently you check all of your weapons in this tiny little briefcase.
That works.
Yeah.
Oh,
you know, it's
old
okay.
school
It's a
video games.
Yeah.
It's kind of charming how that was. How
I miss
there's
that.
explanations for things, but they still don't make any sense in the video game world. Like, it's still very apparent that video game-y things are happening right now.
Yeah. It's interesting in the modern, like, the Call of Duty era of video game mechanics. It's, like, much more realistic that you can only carry, you know, one big weapon and one small weapon at a time.
Right.
I miss being able to have just, like, a full arsenal, you know,
Right.
cycle through it. But then the trade-off is, like, in this one, your health is finite and, you know, maybe not super realistic because you can take, like, 30 bullets before you die, but, like, you know, whereas the trade-off in Call of Duty is less realistic in that your health just regenerates.
Right.
So
It's a different way of doing things. I think I like both.
I like them both for different reasons, yeah.
Yeah, I just don't like that the old way started to kind of
think-
disappear.
Yeah,
Though
and I think Call of Duty works for an action game, just like a run and gun blazer, you know, just shoot 'em up. Whereas for a stealth type game, I think Perfect Dark is the
Right.
better way to do it. You know, just have tons of gadgets, tons of weapons, and you can kind of approach your situation
Yeah.
how you want to.
I'm hoping now that there seems to be a lot more openness to, like, looking back at old ways of doing shooters, that maybe we can see something more like it. Like, I still haven't played it, but I need to get a hold of the new Doom because it's obviously an entirely different type of game.
Right.
But the fact that they didn't do the Call of Duty style, they, you know, went back to the more old school direction
Yeah.
to its roots. So it gives me hope that, hey, they can do that. There's other types of games they can do that with too.
Right.
don't-
Yeah, I've
you
heard
don't
good
have to
things
make-
about it. I haven't played it either.
Yeah, I love Doom, so I really want to play it. I used to be obsessed with the computer games.
Nice.
So good.
Doom 3 is the
Yeah.
only one I ever played, and I only played the first, like, level.
Ugh, Doom 3
So,
is terrible.
I know. So I've heard. But it was good looking at the time, man. Holy cow.
Yeah, I was really excited about Doom 3.
I think it's the first game I ever saw with real-time lighting.
And I was
it
like,
was just
what?
Leaps and
That
bounds.
looks
ahead of
real.
everything.
Now I look at it now, and it's like,
Yeah, I
those
know.
are
It's,
good
it's like a
graphics
joke,
ones.
but it was.
I know, it was like the best graphics I'd ever seen in my life when I first saw
Yeah.
the screenshots for Doom 3.
I remember I downloaded the like the leaked E3 build that
Mhm.
like super rare, and like you had to compile it, and it wasn't like just
Oh, wow.
drag and drop. That was really cool, and it had a little bit of a mini map editor in it that you could like place light sources. It was really cool. Yeah, it
It's
was really
pretty
cool.
cool.
I can't believe that. Thinking back on like the computer I had at the time, I had like a Pentium 4,
Oh.
like I think it was a 1.4 gigahertz, but like 128 megs of RAM was it, and like a 16 megabyte video card,
Wow.
and somehow it still ran, which is just mind blowing.
That's impressive, because like the first computer I got that could run Doom 3, I would say correctly, it was
Yes.
the one I got 3 years ago.
Yeah,
One I have now.
the one that I got that could run it correctly was in 2006, and that was
Yeah.
it was a Pentium D. I couldn't get a Core 2 Duo
Okay.
at the time,
But can you turn up all of the options?
at the time I could. I had a ATI
Okay, really?
All-in-Wonder. It had like I think 128 megs of RAM at the time,
okay.
which was good. I could, and I did once. I think it was still a lowish frame rate, but like playable, like in the 20s.
Okay. And that's probably the original too, because I think I have the BFG edition now, and I know it's really intensive in some
Oh, okay.
regards, because there's like this really cool motion blur effect that I think was added for that, and we're going
Okay.
off a tangent, but
Yeah, no,
whatever.
I've
But if
never
you turn
run
that up all the way, that
The only-
it starts getting
The only one I
taxing.
ever ran was the demo, like the demo that was
Okay.
available in 2006.
Yeah,
or
if you
5 or
ever
whatever.
want to play it again, the BFG version I
BFG?
think is the version to play.
Okay. Yeah.
Because
My modern
they
computer needs a graphics card before I
Yeah.
can even try stuff like that.
because
but-
they changed the mechanics to be less obnoxious, so you can actually hold a gun and a flashlight at the same time now.
Thank God, yeah, I remember that being.
And they in
the
general,
ridiculous.
they kind of brightened the game a little bit, so you were
Okay.
always just flailing in the dark.
Gotcha.
Though some people don't
I-
like because they think they made
Yeah,
less
I
survival
liked
horror by
the
doing
pitch
that.
black. Like, there's a lot that can be said. It was kind of Resident Evil-esque.
Yeah,
but
I-
just,
I think that was kind of the problem though. It was like first person Resident Evil and wasn't.
it's really what it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Doom is about like moving fast and shooting things.
Right. Yeah. It was much more horror survival.
Yeah.
Anyway. Okay. So. Excuse me. Airbase.
Airbase.
You get in. You have to You have to hack some console, and I don't remember what the reason is. If it's to get the elevator down into the
something
hangar,
like that. It's like you do a bunch of hacky, sneaky things, and essentially board the plane.
And then then you just go down and board the plane. There's 2 ways to board the plane. You can either climb up a ladder under the plane, or you can go up to the like loading dock up higher up. And again, a lot of different things in this game. There's a lot of branching paths that lead to the same thing, which is kind of cool. So then the next mission actually takes place in the air on Air Force One.
Air Force One. Love this level so much.
This is a cool level. This is another one I played a lot.
I love how the original... There's a new gun introduced in this game called the Cyclone.
Yes.
I love how ridiculous it looks.
Yes.
Because I honestly thought for a while that that those are like my hands. And I honestly felt like I was shooting out of like my clenched knuckles.
It's kind of like it looks like Samus Aran's like cannon.
Yeah.
From Metroid.
It's just on the low graphics. They look more on the new version. They look more like actual guns.
Yeah.
But playing through it on the N64, it was just like, what is this thing in front of me? I don't know what this is.
And I love the reload animation on this because it's like, rather than loading a clip into the gun, it just like slides a clip through it and then drops it. And apparently that reloads it. So
that's the type of gun you
so cool
protect the president with, apparently.
Yeah, that's what the Secret Service is using in the plane. So you're on there depending on where you got onto the plane, I think affects where you start, because you either start down below in the like cargo bay, which is if you'd climbed up the ladder, that's where you would start, or if you got on through the service loading area, then you would start up pretty close to the president. So it actually doing a little more work in the previous mission meant a little less work in this mission. So it's a really cool touch.
Yep. And the visuals to this level also just
it's really gorgeous.
Cool design. All the blue and kind
the
of brown,
the mahoganies
colors.
Of the woodwork. Looks really cool.
He's fancy.
Yep, fancy Air Force One for the president. So ultimately, like, there's not much to it. You kind of stay stealthy to get to the president, and nobody really questions you. But then once you talk to him, and he has a really weird accent and says "assume" instead of "assume," which I always, as a kid, I didn't understand that it was like a British guy doing an American accent, so I didn't understand why he said "assume." Just like, what the hell? But then anyway, you talk to the president, you play the tape of the G5 meeting, which actually doesn't play, and you have to actually kind of realize that's what had just happened, because suddenly he goes from like, who the hell are you making accusations, and then all of a sudden he's like, okay, I'll do whatever you say. And at that point the plane is attacked by the Skedar, which is one of the alien races, the bad one, and they're suddenly on board trying to get the president, basically. And so you're trying to protect him, get him down to a escape pod, and
another escort mission.
You're fighting your way basically from the upper deck of this essentially modern 747 down to trying to get down to the bottom. Ultimately, you get the president to the escape pod. You kind of try to double back, and as a last-ditch effort, Elvis, who you rescued in the previous mission, comes back and does almost like a kamikaze to separate the Skedar ship from the Air Force One, and ends up crashing everything into the Alaskan wilderness.
Yep. And everything crashes to the ground.
And unfortunately, they didn't have the technology at the time to do a full Air Force One crash, so there's no cutscene of it. It's just all kind of implied in the next cutscene showing the crash site.
They're just the next level just kind of starts this sort of, and what's the word for kind of the dusky, I guess, kind of. Yeah,
it's at twilight, just before twilight.
Dusk.
It's
there you
dusk.
Go.
Dusk is the right word because it's before twilight. Twilight's after the sun goes down. But yeah, you're out in the middle of the Alaskan wilderness. I don't really love this level. Kind of the same way I don't love the surface levels in GoldenEye. Big and expansive and easy to get lost, and then it has like a cave network, which is really easy to get lost in.
I think part of it is because of the limitations of the hardware. They had to make it so misty because of the draw distance.
Yeah.
That it.
Although the draw distance is still better than GoldenEye, but it's still not great.
Yeah, it's way more confusing than it has to be.
So this mission, your goal is to find the president again, and then also find the clone they created and kill the clone.
Yep. And what you have to, I think you have to hit up, Elvis's ship first, right?
I think so. I think that's where you end, actually.
Oh, is it? Okay.
I think.
I thought you got. I thought you could pick. Like you have two objectives, and then you get to like find them in any order you want, right?
Okay. No. Here we go. The agent objectives: activate the distress beacon. So you have to find a crashed thing to basically bring the rescue team. Retire the clone, so to kill the clone. Locate the president. So the president and the clone both show up on this radar thing that you have once you activate it. And it's like a 50-50 chance of which is which and where they're at. And basically one's the president and will follow you and one's not. Those are the only three objectives. So then I think you just find Elvis to end the mission.
Okay.
Maybe
so the beacon,
special agent. No, special agent has the same objectives.
It's shut down enemy jamming
device. Yeah. And retrieve the medical scanner, so you don't come with it originally. Okay, well, yeah, that's the only difference, I think, is you have to go find another piece of hardware to locate and rescue the president. Anyway, yeah, there's really not a whole lot to this. It's a tracking mission, an escort mission, and try not to get lost mission. I don't know. Not my favorite one. Not bad, but...
I think it was a little bit of a disappointment following up, because it's kind of like the third part to like by two of my favorite levels in the game. So it's kind of like,
same.
It was all right.
Yeah. Yep. So after you rescue the president, you meet up with Elvis, and then you guys kind of, I guess, escape back to safety. The game kind of does a big jump from that point to the next act, I guess, so to speak. And this is where you and Elvis infiltrate the Pelagic 2, which is like a government research ship out on the ocean that also has like a submarine or something.
It sounds silly, but I love this. Level just because it has the red overalled enemies.
Miyamoto in the Mario overalls.
Yeah. It's like, I like all the little Marios running around. It's like I'm shooting them in the head.
Yeah.
Aw.
Yeah, I didn't realize until recently, it was an interview, that it was a face scan of Miyamoto and that they gave him the red overalls just because of Mario. Thought that was a cool touch. It was a nice tribute.
Yeah, there was a lot of interesting faces back in the day. I'm sure they've been removed from the 360 version, sadly.
Yeah, they were all rescanned. Either the original people rescanned or just new ones made.
Yeah.
Like Ken Lobb was in both, but he has a higher res scan in the new one. Kind of like a snarled look expression on his face in the new one.
Because there was original had like a couple game journalists too, I think. So I know like the founder of IGN was like an enemy too, if I remember.
Yeah,
right.
I think so. One of them, or Matt Casamassina maybe, but yeah.
Yep.
Yep. Good times.
Good times.
So this mission, this is the part of the game that I don't play as often when I replay it.
Mm-hmm.
Every once in a while I'll jump into it, but this is another one. It's very much like the frigate in GoldenEye, and it can be a little confusing to navigate, and there's a little bit of a lot of tight corridors and
they all kind of look the same.
Yeah. It's easy to kind of get lost or not remember which one you've gone down already or whatever. But this one I don't know as much about the specific plot points and what you're doing. I just know that you're trying to get to the Skedar, some sort of like you're trying to figure out what they're doing.
You're just like deactivating things and shutting down.
Disable primary power source, deactivate GPS and autopilot, and then rendezvous and escape with Elvis.
I do actually enjoy this level quite a bit. I think this is the last one that I think the episode. I can't talk. The levels after this, though, I agree, are the ones I don't really replay.
Okay. Yeah.
After it just starts to turn into like an alien shooter, I think I liked it much. But I do like the cramped levels, really corridory levels like this. We have lots of enemies funneled into small places. And there isn't really that much interesting going on visually though, because it's like you go through corridors that look the same, deactivate this, go through more some stairs, down some stairs, bunch of boxes with enemies hiding behind them. Reminds me of the train a little bit.
I was just about to say that there's a couple of like elongated corridors that are just like the train. Probably a callback. there's a cool use of the X-ray scan to do some of the switch activation.
Yep.
And yeah, other than that, I mean, it's a matter of getting from point A to point B and doing your objectives, which I guess is really every level in the game. But yeah, it's not too bad. I think I am with you in that I will play this more than I'll play the ones that follow it. But it's kind of when I start to taper off.
Okay, so should we go into Deep Sea Nullify Threat, or should we say that for next week?
I
think we have time to get through it.
Let's do that one, and
because then the next levels are kind of like the end of the game.
Is the finale. Yeah, the next one is connected directly to this. Let's just cover that one real quick. So basically, you get to the end of the Project 2 exploration, and then you basically go down this kind of like an elevator down, right?
Yeah, because I think that's part of the cutscene. I think. And you're kind of going underground
into an underwater base. Yeah.
Weird, really green, alien-looking place.
Yeah.
This is also the first time you encounter the Skeetar in their true alien form.
Right. So throughout the game, you've seen this guy named Mr. Blonde throughout, but then you realize that he's actually a Skeetar alien, and they look like, I don't even know how to describe them. They're like bipedal, but kind of dinosaur.
Yeah. A little monstrous.
Yeah.
Hard to describe.
I really don't know. It's like a head of a Triceratops.
Right. You also get the Farsight weapon in this level, which is probably the coolest thing about it.
It's probably the coolest gun in the game. But yeah.
Basically, you see through walls, and you can set it up to the secondary fighter of auto-target. Then it'll just keep looking scans through the walls till it finds a heat source, and then you can shoot them through with it.
Yeah.
It's such a creative gun.
And using the zoom function, you can actually zoom through depth of walls. So rather than zooming in traditional I guess it does zoom, but it's more so going through the Z-axis or whatever.
Right.
It's pretty cool. So I guess in this one you're in this underwater research facility that the Skeetar have been putting together to build a teleportal for them to basically invade Earth, using Datadyne as their front, which is interesting and getting really into the plot. It's kind of a cool concept. I don't know if it's borrowed or taken directly from any existing science fiction, but it's a cool way for an alien invasion, because it's not just them Independence Day coming in and flying in, the traditional boring way. It's they're literally sneaking into Earth. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, pretty cool.
And like you said, it's very dark and green and very
not my favorite
kind
level.
Of blah. Yeah, very corridory because it's an underground or underwater tube system, and I used to get lost a little bit in it.
Basically, just go disable all these things.
Yep.
Save Dr. Carroll or restore him, or I think it says here.
Right, kind of restore his original thing, but
then you have to leave with a constant sort of enemy spawn pool of Skeetar popping up.
And Dr. Carroll basically sacrifices himself to blow up this place to save you all.
Poor Dr. Carroll. We liked him.
Very noble. Very noble little computer. But yeah, so it's an okay mission, but it's a little bit on the long side, and there's a lot of stuff going on, but it's just kind of find this, disable this, and restore Dr. Carroll, and then you have 30 seconds to escape. So.
Yep, that pretty much sums it up.
Yep. So, yeah, I'd say we've done our damage for this week. We can finish off easily the rest of it.
Yeah.
And then go into the multiplayer and maybe some of the other elements of the game next week.
With part 3.
Part 3. This is a good game. It deserves it.
Yeah, it is. It deserves it. I remember when we first started this, I was like, I don't know if it's going to be 2 episodes.
I know.
And I was like,
but no,
trust me, it's going to be 2, at least.
Yep.
So, I think we'll probably call it good here, trying to keep these more palatable running times. So.
Yep. So, thanks for tuning in, everybody. As always, we ask that you give us a like, a subscribe, a 5-star rating on iTunes, things like that.
All those things.
If you like it, tell your friends, share it with other Rare fans, and
start a cult about us.
Yeah, thanks for
that too.
tuning in. I appreciate the support.
Have a great weekend. Bye.